What's going on, guys? Welcome to the first episode of the Salty Seafarers podcast. This episode is for Thursday, April 28th, 2022. This is going to run every weekday. Probably going to be somewhere between 30 minutes to an hour, but that'll likely change at some point. I don't really know. I want to find like a good format, but I'm not going to know until I just start putting these out. So you'll find out soon enough that I'm pretty fucking crazy, and I'm obsessed with like a million different things at a time. And that's pretty much what we're going to talk about. And you know, that might look like Formula One, fishing, surfing, sim racing, boating. I don't know, just cars, just random shit that I'm interested in for that week. We'll talk about it. I'm gonna try to keep a pretty standard format from episode to episode. Right now it's gonna look something like this, but it's definitely gonna change at some point. But first 5 to 10 minutes I'm thinking like Formula One news and just random thoughts on Formula One, stuff like that. Then I'll just give you a little update on what's coming up in my sim racing career in the upcoming future and where to watch and support in that area. Then I'll talk about, whatever I'm obsessing over that week. Right now it's surfing, so we'll talk about that a little later. Might mention what movies or TV shows or books I've read or watched recently. Then I want to do something kind of like, I don't know if any of you guys have ever listened to the Monday Morning podcast by Bill Burr, but he's got this awesome advice section that he does every week, and it's like my favorite thing ever, where his listeners will like email in and ask him a question or his thoughts on some thing, maybe in their own life, or maybe it's just some sort of world issue or something like that, and then he'll just give his thoughts on that for a little bit, and then sometimes viewers will even respond to other viewers with other emails, so that's pretty cool. But that won't be able to get up and running until I've got some listeners that'll email in, and that might take a little while. But if you're listening and you got something, email in at the saltyseafarer@gmail.com. It'll be in the description as well. But yeah, just send me your thoughts. I'm not going to be strict about it at all. Just email me. You could just say hi if you want to. Or you could send me a long one. I don't really care. I'm going to read it regardless. So please do that. Then after that, this is the part I'm a little, I'm not really sure if it's going to stay in the podcast or not. It's really going to just take your thoughts and whatever you guys think. But I was thinking of maybe putting like a 5 to 10 minute snippet of the audiobook that I'm currently reading at the end, just to sort of get you all peaceful and in a good headspace for the rest of the day. But yeah, that might go, that might stay, whatever. Send your thoughts in. We'll try it out for today and maybe the next few days, but we'll see. And then at the way end, I'm thinking maybe like a 15-second motivational clip by like Joey Diaz or something right at the end, just to get you pumped for the rest of the day, ready to conquer the world. But yeah, so that's the basic format. Alright, why don't we jump right into Formula One? This past Sunday we saw the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix, and it was a pretty great race. Red Bull, obviously, they didn't put a foot wrong. Maximum points for their team, with Verstappen P1, Perez P2. Then we got Lando, P3. That was a great result for McLaren, especially after Bahrain. Everybody just thought they were going to be, well, not just McLaren, but every car with the Mercedes power unit. Everybody just thought they were going to be the worst. And so far, the Mercedes power unit has been weaker, but we're starting to see the teams figure it out a little bit more. P4, we got George Russell. He's been outperforming Lewis so far this season. He's the only driver to finish in the top 5 in every race. I think it was P4 in Bahrain, then P3 in Saudi Arabia, then maybe P5 in Australia, and then P4 in Imola. That's probably not right, but it was something like that. But yeah, he's been having a decent year for how bad the car is, and it's really surprising to see him just outperforming Lewis at the level he is. I don't think it's because he's better than Lewis at all. I really don't think it's that. I think Lewis is just really having trouble with how the car's set up and just sort of how it handles. And I don't know why that is. I don't have enough experience with Formula One to even really take a shot at why he's having such a hard time getting used to it. But maybe it's because he's had sort of like the exact same car for the last 8 years. But I doubt it. But yeah, we're going to see Hamilton have a revenge tour pretty soon. He'll figure it out. Bottas P5, I would have loved to see him get past Russell at the end. That would have been sweet. He's been having an outstanding year, and Bottas at Alfa Romeo is one of my favorite driver-team pairings on the grid, and so far this season he's been one of my favorite drivers, and I'm just really happy for him overall. P6, we have Leclerc. He was in P3 fighting with Perez for P2, and then he spun out. I mean, what is there to say about that? He seemed to be playing it safe the whole race, and then, what was it, like the last 15 laps, he was just decided to risk it all. I think it was just an honest mistake, because we haven't seen him put a foot wrong the whole season so far. And I think after this, he's definitely going to play it even more safe, which I think gives the advantage to Verstappen, because Verstappen, he loves to just lay it all out there and give it everything at every race. And I think he might have Leclerc in that area, because Leclerc really just is going for perfection and he doesn't really want to do anything wrong, in my opinion. As far as the championship goes, I mean, I love Leclerc, I love Verstappen, but at the moment, I'm going to have to put my money on Verstappen, just because he's had a whole year of practicing in these sort of situations, you know, like the safety car restart, starting from the front and starting races from the from the front row. Verstappen has already had this sort of pressure, and he's had a whole year of practice with it. So I think that just gives him a little bit of an advantage. I'm sure Leclerc's going to catch on quick, but yeah, advantage max in my eyes. Even though they have those reliability issues, I think they'll figure those out. So yeah, we'll see. Yuki Tsunoda in P7. He's been outperforming Pierre this year, and that is extremely surprising, because Pierre absolutely smoked him last year. And in my opinion, Pierre is top 5 drivers on the grid probably. So I think Pierre is just sort of having the same thing as Hamilton with the setup, because we all know he's better than how he's performing right now. Same with Sainz. I'd put Sainz, Pierre, and Hamilton all in a little group together, and they're just not catching on as quick as everybody else, but obviously they'll catch on eventually, and they'll figure it out. So yeah, P8 Vettel, P10 Stroll, both Aston Martins in the points. That was extremely surprising to me because they are probably the 9th best team. Williams is the 10th best. Just absolutely horrible this year. And we'll talk a little bit more about Lance Stroll in a couple minutes. But in between the two Aston Martins at P9, we got K-Mag with Haas. He had a beautiful start to the season with Haas, but he's slowly starting to fall down a little bit. I'm sure Haas will bring some upgrades because other teams have been bringing upgrades recently, and maybe they're just falling down the order, but when they bring their upgrades, they'll get boosted back up a little bit. But yeah, I'm sure Gunther and Jean are just excited to be, what are they, the 5th best team right now? We got Ferrari 1, Red Bull 2, I guess Mercedes 3rd, but I don't know. Then McLaren's in there, Alfa Romeo, and then Haas. And I forgot about Alpine too. So yeah, they're right in there. Definitely midfield team, along with McLaren, Mercedes, Alfa Romeo, and Alpine. Speaking of Alpine, disappointing day for them. We've got Alonso in, he didn't finish, I believe. Yeah, Alonso didn't finish, and then Ocon finished 14th. They've been having a great year. Alonso's been pretty unlucky in a couple races. This race, he had that collision with, was it Schumacher? When Schumacher spun on lap 1, hit Alonso's side pod, put a big hole in it. So that was unfortunate for him. But he's been performing great, just a little unlucky. Ocon's just been performing average, like normal. He's a very consistent driver. Him and Alonso are actually pretty neck and neck. But yeah, Alpine built a great car this year, especially since they're making their own engine. They somehow made an engine even better than Mercedes, even though Mercedes has dropped something like $1.2 billion into their power unit, which is crazy that Alpine can even compete with that. Then in 11th we have Albon with Williams. That was a good result for Williams. Great result for Williams, actually. Pierre behind him. Pierre should have never been behind Albon. Hamilton behind Pierre, P13. They were in a DRS train. It was Albon, Pierre, Hamilton, like the whole race. Not the whole race, but Pierre and Hamilton and Ocon right behind Hamilton. They should have been able to breeze past Albon because his car is horrible. Zhou Guan Yu in P15. He already has points this season. Got him in Bahrain, I believe, in the first race. He's had just a decent start to the season. Nothing too special, but, nothing to complain about. He's a rookie. He hasn't had any major accidents. I think, did he have a spin? Was it this race or was it last race? He had a spin in one of them, but it wasn't the end of the world. It might have been in the sprint race, yes, on Saturday. I'm having trouble remembering for some reason. 16th, we have Latifi. I have no issue with Latifi, but he's far and away the worst driver this year so far. Schumacher behind Latifi. Schumacher has not been performing well this season so far, especially in comparison to K-Mag, who had a year off. And K-Mag's just leaving Schumacher in the dust so far. Then we got Ricciardo behind McLaren. Just an unlucky race for Ricciardo. He had that incident with Sainz, which he managed to get out of the gravel. And then he had to pit and put a new front wing on, I think. and then he ended up pitting again to put the hards on, and that strategy call just ended up not really paying off for them, I think. So he's just sitting around last sort of the whole race. And then our DNFs, we have Fernando and Sainz, which neither DNF was their fault. So yeah, let's hear some interviews right now. We'll hear from Verstappen first on just how his race went, just sort of a summary of how his race went.
And taking the 22nd win of his career and his second of the current campaign, our winner, Max Verstappen. Max, very well done. That was the most dominant win of the season so far. And after the disappointment of Melbourne last time out, how important was it?
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, Melbourne wasn't great for us. And the start of the season in general wasn't amazing. So we needed a good weekend. I didn't expect it to be like this, but of course when you have a weekend at the end of the day like this, that's incredible. I mean, a 1-2 for the team, but also maximum points scored. And also the way I think we handled the race. I think, we didn't really make any mistakes. I think we made the right calls with switching from the inters to the slicks. And from there onwards, we just controlled the race. And it, of course, seemed probably easy on the TV, but you still have to be, focused, especially also with back markers. It's easy to, when you're on offline, to lock up or go through a wet patch and go off the track. So, just manage that. But the car was handling really well. I mean, of course, we saw that yesterday already in sprint qualifying, that we had good pace in the car and we could look after our tires probably quite nicely. So, very positive weekend.
All right, so yeah, that was the most dominant we have seen Red Bull in a while. Normally last year we would see both teams, Mercedes and Red Bull, they had their cards to play during the race, but neither one was ever really completely in control, and it just seemed this race at Imola, Red Bull just had all the cards. Max could take it easy out front. When Leclerc ended up pitting for softs, both Max and Sergio could follow with no repercussions, and it just seemed like they could do whatever they want and whatever they wanted, and yeah, perfect weekend for them. Maximum points in the sprint race and the race. So yeah. And now let's hear from Sergio on what he learned in his battle with Leclerc.
You were exchanging blows with Charles for so much of the race. Must have given you a good insight into the strengths of the two cars, both yours and Ferrari. What did you learn?
They were extremely quick through the chicane. I think their low speed was quite good. And yeah, I mean, you saw with Charles, he had the mistake there. So he was certainly pushing extremely hard through there. And he was just taking quite a bit of time out of me at each lap, So, but overall, a good weekend for the team.
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. Red Bull has had a big switch from last year, because last year everyone knows with the high rake Red Bull, they were extremely fast through the corners, and the low rake Mercedes was extremely fast on the straights, and it's completely the opposite for Red Bull this year. They're the team that has all the speed on the straights, and the Ferrari is the car that has all the speed through the corners, especially the low speed corners. And I don't know exactly what it is about the Ferrari that makes it so fast through the corners. I hear it's pretty stable. But yeah, that's all I really know. Alright, now let's hear from Lando about what he thought about his race.
Lando, coming to you. A bit of a lonely afternoon here at Imola, but what a result. Another podium.
Yeah, oh, sorry. Yes. Surprised, I guess, to be here, but feels amazing. So, from where we were, 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, a month in Bahrain to being on a podium, I genuinely didn't think we would be on the podium all year after Bahrain. So it's quite a shock. Maybe not surprising after the kind of progress we made over the last month, but yeah, definitely on the podium. With how much quicker the Red Bulls and Ferraris are, it's hard to ever imagine yourself on the podium. And a great result today would have been P5, but a few just good things throughout this race. An amazing start to be ahead of both the Ferraris, stay out of the chaos, switch up and behind. And just I guess a lonely but a great race, just managing the gap to George, looking after the tyres for the whole stint. Everything just went well all weekend, to be honest, not just the race today, but qualifying P3 already was a pretty good achievement for us. So great weekend. Nice to see the improvements we've been bringing, and to reward everyone with a podium is even better.
So this is a pretty interesting one because I don't think anyone is too surprised to see Lando on the podium, because we know he can drive the fucking wheels off the car. But just looking at how bad McLaren was at Bahrain, Lando's my favorite driver, and I hate to say this, but I had just lost hope. I thought they just botched it over the winter, and I was super disappointed. I felt bad for Lando because he just signed that long contract, but good on McLaren for getting an extremely quick recovery. I don't think they're where they want to be yet, but they're definitely back up to a respectable level, so good for them. I hope Ricardo gets some more luck, but now let's hear from Lando on if he thinks he has the third fastest car, and this is just a little funny exchange between Max and Lando.
Do you think you had the third fastest car here at Imola?
I
mean, if I want to be like George, I'll say I'd like the 7th fastest car.
So you should say it's all the driver, mate.
It is.
Driver.
I think
you had the worst car of the field.
think we're 9th or 10th, but my driving this weekend has been pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Yeah, you agree, so
this will be a nice headline.
I don't know. It's too difficult to say. It changes every weekend. The Mercedes wasn't so bad this weekend. I think we were still quicker than them probably throughout. The Alfa Romeo was maybe quicker. He was off at the start, I think, and quicker yesterday, maybe quicker today. Just couldn't get past George, so it doesn't really matter. We beat 2 cars who are probably a second lap quicker than us, and one ended up in the wall and one ended up in the gravel. So it doesn't necessarily mean if you have the 3rd or 4th or 5th best car. I think we just executed a great race from our side. The car was good, and I had good confidence, and that's all I needed.
So obviously they were being sarcastic when Lando was saying he had the 9th best car and Max was saying he had the worst car, but pretty self-explanatory. Let's hear from Lewis on what he thought about his horrible race, and I'm not blaming it on Lewis. I'm just saying objectively it was a horrible race. So let's hear what he has to say.
Must be sick of the sight at the back of an AlphaTauri.
Yeah, I've been stuck behind them a bit this weekend.
What did the car feel like overall today? Was it just as much like it's been difficult to drive all year?
Probably the worst that it's felt. But it's similar to other races.
When you see Max unlapping you, I know it doesn't matter who's lapping you, it's never a good feeling, but does that kind of show you how far you guys have changed over time?
Yeah, just shows how wrong we got it.
So obviously the most blatant team that screwed up over the winter is Mercedes. They've gotten lucky at the first part of the season. I don't think they should have as many points as they do. Obviously, they deserve it because they earn those points, but I think their car is I think right now they're 3rd in the championship, and realistically, their car is probably 5th, 6th, or 7th fastest. So they botched it. I hear they're bringing some very big updates in Spain. They've been running completely different setups on George and Lewis's cars. Probably just data gathering to try and see how can they fix their problems in the shortest amount of time to a point where they won't have to fix them again. So they're definitely going to make some big strides in Spain. I wouldn't be surprised to see them jump back up to Red Bull Ferrari level. But realistically, they'll probably be up with McLaren and Alfa Romeo and Haas and Alpine. But yeah, it sucks to see Lewis down there. You know he's got more potential. It's like seeing Vettel at Aston Martin. But yeah, what can you do? They'll have to figure it out. They've been winning for 8 years straight, and I'm sure they've got the potential to figure it out. Let's hear about Bottas's race.
You must be delighted.
Yeah, it was a good race. I mean, just even with a bit of contact in turn 2, luckily there was no damage, and the pit stop for sure compromised the race a bit. But after that, yeah, we had really good pace. I could push flat out all through the race, and I was catching Mercedes pretty well, and unfortunately didn't quite have the pace towards the end to overtake them, but still good points.
It must have been fun though, having the pace to fight George towards the end. It must have been really fun.
Yeah, it is. I'm really enjoying it. It's really good fun, and the upgrades we had this weekend definitely made the car even stronger, so that's a good feeling.
And Alfa are up to 5th in the Constructors' Championship. The season's going from strength to strength.
Yeah, it's going to the plan for now, but we still have plenty of things to get right and improve, and look forward to the next one.
Once again, I just love seeing Bottas at Alfa Romeo. He deserves to finally get his thoughts taken seriously, and when he says we need to fix this, they actually fix it, and he seems to be extremely happy, and the results are showing. It was a great move of him to go to Alfa Romeo. I love him there. He's been performing incredibly, and he seems to think they can only get better. So, let's hear from Vettel on his race with Aston Martin.
It's great to get some points on the board.
Yeah, I think it was an unbelievable race for us. Obviously, we capitalized on the conditions, but after that we were just trying to hang on as much as we could, and we did well, beating faster cars behind us. So I think it was a very strong race.
It looked like you had a nice rhythm out there. I know it got tougher as the race went on, but that must be encouraging after the slightly slower start.
Yeah, absolutely. I wasn't sure if we can really go on the same set of tires, but I guess we had to. So I had to manage it and at the same time push. Kevin behind has a much faster package, but we were able to fend him off. Then he was running into trouble with his tires. So I think we managed well, and it's good to have also both cars in the points. So that's really a good day for us.
Yeah, so Aston Martin, 9th best team, pretty clear. Williams 10th. Nobody likes seeing Vettel where he is. He could easily be at Red Bull dominating right now, and everybody knows that. Same with Alonso. Alonso's still at a good team. I think Vettel's got to get out of there pretty soon. Decent race for them, considering their car. Obviously, their development team should have built a much better team with the finances that they have compared to teams like Haas, and I believe Alfa Romeo doesn't have the largest budget either. And then last interview, let's just hear from Charles. We got to hear from him about what went wrong when he hit that curb at the chicane.
Yeah, not unfortunate. I just did a big mistake, and that's it. I paid the price. We lose 7 potential points. I was 3rd, I finished 6th, so it's 7 points in the bin just with my mistake, and I take the responsibility for it. I saw the opportunity with Perez and thought that I wanted to give it all and try to get the 2nd place, and I went too hard, so all my fault.
Okay, so, yep. Once again with Charles, we already touched on it. You can't really blame him for it. It was just an honest mistake. He took too much curb. He was pushing. I hope we don't see him pull back, because those things just happen sometimes. And it's been really exciting so far this year, and he really hasn't put a foot wrong the whole time, except for that one moment. All right, now let's just talk some quick F1 talking points that are going around Twitter and stuff that I want to mention. The biggest one is a rumored driver swap between two current drivers at two teams, and the biggest guess as to who it is Oscar Piastri, who's last year's F2 champion and current Alpine reserve driver, swapping with Latifi at Williams. This might be because Latifi's just been having a horrible year, and Piastri really should be in a seat. So that's like the number one guess at who the driver swap is going to be between. And you know, I don't have anything wrong with Latifi. He has been having a bad year, and since Haas isn't horrible this year, it's really I feel like last year was kind of hiding how bad he was because he was in a much better car than the Haas drivers. But now that the Haas car isn't that horrible, we can really see how bad Latifi is. But yeah, I would love to see Piastri in a seat. I would be sad to see Latifi go. But yeah, the second guest that's going around is Mick Schumacher and Stroll switching. There have been rumors that Stroll wants to get out of Aston Martin. He kind of just plummeted it after he bought it. And Haas is looking for some money, and Lawrence Stroll could be the answer for that. So we could see Schumacher go to Aston Martin with his German counterpart Vettel, and I'm sure they would have a blast, except Mick would be going to a much worse car. And Stroll would be going to a better car, but bringing daddy's money. And I have no problem with Stroll. It's just that Racing Point Aston Martin team has just, after that pink Mercedes year, they just haven't been able to do anything productive. You know, they haven't, arguably, since they were Force India, they haven't even had one good design that they've done on their own. And their car does look beautiful, we'll give them that. It was one of my favorite ones from the livery releases in January, whenever that was. But you know, we'll see. I would really hate to see Haas get torn down with them. Alright, next up we've got the fake marina at Miami, and this is so embarrassing. It is, if you haven't heard, it's the Miami race. For some reason they couldn't build a track in a good area. That's what I'm hearing. They had to, for some reason, they could only build the track in this rundown area, and they're trying to sort of fake it and make it look like Monaco, kind of like they're in a sweet area with the marina, and kind of like Yas Marina or Monaco. But yeah, so inside the track they are digging like a big pool kind of, and there's gonna be docks and boats and stuff, except there is no water even remotely close to the track, so all the boats in there have to be like put in using cranes and stuff. So it's just completely a facade, completely fake, and it's just really weird because it's so obvious, because it's not even like a big lagoon or anything. It's like a 50-foot wide pool, and you can clearly see that there's no exits that the boats can take. So it's pretty funny. Next talking point. This is my take on who between Max and Charles currently has the advantage in the championship. And right now my money is on Max. Not because I like him more than Leclerc or anything, because I like them both equally. They're both some of my favorite drivers. And this doesn't even really have to do with car performance either. I kind of took that out of the equation. But just based on drivers, I would say Max has the advantage in the championship. solely because he had all that practice with these kind of scenarios last year. For example, with safety car restarts, what to do when you're the first car in the safety car restart or the second car. He's practiced that a couple times last year. Just all those sort of scenarios that take place in the podium positions. Leclerc doesn't have nearly as much experience. So that's the reason I would give Max my money on the championship right now. And that doesn't mean it's not going to be extremely close, and that doesn't mean I don't want to see Leclerc win. I'm just thinking, just because Verstappen is a little bit ahead of the game there, he has the advantage. And also, I think Leclerc is going to pick up on that stuff really quick anyways, but right now that's just my take. Could be a bad one, I'm an idiot, so who knows. Email me if you have any suggestions and email me your takes. I'll read them off next episode. Alright, let's see, what do I have next? Let me check this out. Hang on. Okay, this is a tweet from Formula Racers. According to Joe Soward, it is rumored that McLaren are considering Colton Herta as a replacement for Ricciardo in 2024 or even sooner. Nothing concrete yet, but Herta's pace, in addition to his commercial value in the US, makes him a legitimate F1 prospect. I don't know much about Colton, but I have heard rumors about Ricciardo maybe going into NASCAR or IndyCar or something like that because the American audience loves him and because he's had quite the difficult F1 career in recent times. But I don't see him getting replaced anytime soon. He's just like, right now I sort of see him as the face of Formula One because, at least to new, let's call them Drive to Survive audiences, because that show, it's kind of centered around him. And at least when I watched Drive to Survive, I was like, oh, this is all about Ricciardo. So yeah, I can't see them getting rid of him. I'm sure he's bringing a ton of money, and obviously he has skills. I think he just hasn't. I don't think McLaren is the right spot for him right now. I could see him going back to Red Bull maybe. Who knows? But yeah, I don't really love the McLaren pairing right now. I mean, I love Lando, I love Ricciardo, but for some reason it's just not clicking for me. I think he needs to be driver number one somewhere, like Bottas at Alfa Romeo. I mean, maybe we could see him go to Haas because he has that American audience. But yeah, that's my thoughts on that. This is some news ahead of the Miami Grand Prix. Both race directors have COVID currently. Who knows, maybe they'll be clear before the race, but especially before an inaugural race. I know the race directors do so much, like Nasser at Saudi Arabia last year. He was going there like every couple days to make sure it was getting put together right and stuff. So who knows, this could throw a huge wrench in the Miami race. I don't know what their systems in place for handling stuff like this are. Obviously they'll put in 2 replacement ones, or maybe Massey will do it. I doubt it, but who knows. Yeah, so that's everything we have on Formula One. So next up, let me just give a brief rundown of my sim racing career that we got coming up. So I got the first race of this league I'm in. It's called the Pony Express Sim Racing Open Wheels for Amateur. That's the actual, I don't know the right word for that. Pony Express Sim Racing is the league, and then the actual season or race I'm in is the open wheels for amateurs. The first 2 races were actually this past Monday, but I had to miss them because I was on a flight. But so my first race is this next Monday, May 2nd at 7:10 Eastern Standard Time. It's at, pardon me if I don't say this correctly, I've never pronounced or heard this track before, Tsukuba Circuit in Shimasuma, Japan. I looked at the track map, looks pretty fun. I haven't actually driven on it yet. I'm going to do that tonight for the first time. But yeah, so we're driving the F4 cars in iRacing, the IRO4s, and it's fixed. So yeah, it's going to be a 20-minute heat and then the 30-minute main race with an inverted field. I don't know if it's only the top 10 are inverted or what, but I'll keep you updated on that. And when the link comes out, I will put it in the description because it's broadcast live on YouTube on All-Star 15 TV. So yeah, it'd be cool if you guys came and watched. Yeah. So then that's it for that. Oh well, just so you know, the calendar, it's every Monday at 7:10 Eastern Standard Time. So just so you're not surprised, it's every Monday. Next up, gotta talk about my current obsession. So right now I'm really getting in the summer mood. Me and my family, we go on vacation just after school ends every year for a couple weeks, and I'm ecstatic for that. It's my favorite place on earth. We're going to an island in South Carolina, and it's legitimately paradise. So recently, you know, I've tried all the different boarding, you know, skateboarding, snowboarding, wakeboarding, all that stuff, and the only one I haven't given a shot to yet is surfing. So I'm gonna rent a used surfboard on my vacation and try that out, and if I end up liking it, I can even do it at home in Cleveland on the lake. There's a group of people that have been doing that on Lake Erie recently, so that would be pretty fun. And my favorite thing in the whole world is the ocean, so it just seems like it'll work. So yeah, I've just been watching a lot of movies and YouTube videos and stuff about surfing. So yeah, if you got any thoughts or tips for beginners, send me an email. It's going to be my answer for everything. Movies I've watched recently, let's see. The Blue Lagoon, I think it came out in like the 80s. It's on Netflix. Fucking incredible. Such a good movie. One of my favorites now. Definitely watch it. It was so good. TV show I'm watching right now, I'm watching Arrested Development with Jason Bateman and Michael Cera. I've watched it before, but I didn't really remember it. I watched it like 8 or 9 years ago. So I'm rewatching that. This would be where the advice section goes. I'm just plowing through these things right now. I didn't even realize it. This is where the advice section would be. Once again, we're not going to have that this week. But reminder, send me an email. You know, I'll read it out next time. If you have any questions or want my advice on something or want my thoughts on anything, send it to me. And I'll read it out in this slot tomorrow. Or whenever you send your email. Alright, well, that's all I've got for you today. This is the last you'll hear of me. We'll play a couple minutes of the book I'm reading. and it's The Old Man in the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. So far it's fucking great, so I'm gonna play like the first 5 or 10 minutes for you, and then we'll get a 15-second motivational clip, and then the outro song. Also, I forgot to mention this earlier, every day I'm gonna make a quick like 15 to 20 minute Spotify playlist for any commuting you have to do for the rest of the day, so I'll put that in the description as well. So yeah, check it out. Have a great Thursday, everyone. I'll see you tomorrow.
He was an old man who fished alone in his skiff in the Gulf Stream, and he'd gone 84 days now without taking a fish. In the first 40 days, a boy had been with him, but after 40 days without a fish, the boy's parents had told him that the old man was now definitely and finally Salau, which is the worst form of unlucky. And the boy had gone at their orders in another boat, which caught 3 good fish the first week. It made the boy sad to see the old man come in each day with his skiff empty. And he always went down to help him carry either the coiled lines or the gaff and harpoon and the sail that was furled around the mast. The sail was patched with flour sacks, and furled it looked like the flag of permanent defeat. The old man was thin and gaunt with deep wrinkles in the back of his neck. The brown blotches of the benevolent skin cancer the sun brings from its reflection in the tropic seas were on his cheeks. The blotches ran well down the sides of his face, and his hands had the deep-creased scars from handling heavy fish in the cords. But none of these scars were fresh. They were as old as erosions in a fishless desert. Everything about him was old, except his eyes, and they were the same color as the sea, and were cheerful and undefeated. "Santiago," the boy said to him as they climbed the bank from where the skiff was hauled up, "I could go with you again. We've made some money." The old man had taught the boy to fish, and the boy loved him. "No," the old man said. "You're with the lucky boat. Stay with them." "But remember how you went 87 days without fish, and then we caught big ones every day for 3 weeks?" "I remember," the old man said. "I know you did not leave me because you doubted. It was Papa made me leave. I am a boy, and I must obey him." "I know," the old man said. "It is quite normal." "He hasn't much faith." "No," the old man said. "But we have, haven't we?" "Yes," the boy said. "Can I offer you a beer on the terrace, and then we'll take the stuff home?" "Why not?" the old man said. "Between fishermen." They sat in the terrace, and many of the fishermen made fun of the old man, and he was not angry. Others of the older fishermen looked at him and were sad, but they did not show it, and they spoke politely about the current and the depths they had drifted their lines at, and the steady good weather, and of what they had seen. The successful fishermen of that day were already in, and had butchered their marlin out and carried them laid full length across 2 planks, with 2 men staggering at the end of each plank to the fish house, where they waited for the ice truck to carry them to the market in Havana. Those who had caught sharks had taken them to the shark factory on the other side of the cove, where they were hoisted on a block and tackle, their livers removed, their fins cut off, and their hides skinned out, and their flesh cut into strips for salting. When the wind was in the east, a smell came across the harbor from the shark factory. But today there was only the faint edge of the odor, because the wind had backed into the north and then dropped off, and it was pleasant and sunny on the terrace. "Santiago," the boy said. "Yes," the old man said. He was holding his glass and thinking of many years ago. "Can I go out and get sardines for you for tomorrow?" "No. Go and play baseball. I can still row, and Rogelio will throw the net." "I'd like to go. If I cannot fish with you, I'd like to serve in some way." "You bought me a beer," the old man said. "You're already a man." "How old was I when you first took me in a boat?" 5. You nearly were killed when I brought the fish in too green. You nearly tore the boat to pieces. Can you remember? "I can remember the tail slapping and banging and the thwart breaking and the noise of the clubbing. I can remember you throwing me into the bow where the wet, coiled lines were and feeling the whole boat shiver, and the noise of you clubbing him like chopping a tree down, and the sweet blood smell all over me. Can you really remember that? Or did I just tell it to you?" "I remember everything from when we first went together." The old man looked at him with his sunburned, confident, loving eyes. "If you were my boy, I'd take you out and gamble," he said. "But you are your father's and your mother's, and you are in a lucky boat. May I get the sardines? I know where I can get 4 baits, too." I have mine left from today. I put them in salt in the box. Let me get 4 fresh ones. 1, the old man said. His hope and his confidence had never gone, but now they were freshening as when the breeze rises. 2, the boy said. 2, the old man agreed. You didn't steal them. I would, the boy said, but I bought these. Thank you, the old man said. He was too simple to wonder when he had attained humility. But he knew he had attained it, and he knew it was not disgraceful, and it carried no loss of true pride. Tomorrow is going to be a good day with this current, he said. Where are you going, the boy asked. Far out to come in when the wind shifts. I want to be out before it is light. I'll try to get him to work far out, the boy said. Then if you hook something truly big, we can come to your aid. He does not like to work too far out. No, the boy said, but I will see something that he cannot see, such as a bird working, and get him to come out after dolphin. Are his eyes that bad? He's almost blind. It is strange, the old man said. He never went turtling. That is what kills the eyes. But you went turtling for years off the Mosquito Coast, and your eyes are good. I am a strange old man. But you're strong enough now for a truly big fish? I think so. And there are many tricks. Let us take the stuff home, the boy said, so I can get the cast net and go after the sardines.
Everybody's looking for inspiration, bitches. You got it. When I need to be inspired, I come to the Garden of Good and Evil. Think about my life. I smoke a bowl and I go, fuck it. Things happen. I gotta change things. Tomorrow's another fucking day. You can't cry over spilt milk. You gotta get up and go, you know what? Yesterday was yesterday. This cocksucker boss, fuck him, fuck that dude. I'm running my own gameplay. That's what it's all about, bitches. It's fucking Thursday. You settled in. Hillary lost. What are you gonna do? You're gonna sit there? What the fuck? Grab your balls, get that flag, and go, I'm my own type of fucking American.
Or your life it will be slanted.